One and all, and welcome back to the Road to 1,000 Subs stream. We're counting down the road to 1,000 subs, or as Frank Herbert would call it, the Golden Path. As always, I'm your host, Nick Cicada, and this is episode 3 of Road to 1,000 Subs. Now, the rules are very simple. Go down, hit subscribe. My 1,000th subscriber is going to win at least 10 free comics, possibly more than that, but I can't guarantee as much. And that's only if I hit 1,000 subscribers before the year is out, before midnight on January 31st. Yeah. So, midnight on January 31st. I always get confused between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. And the 12 p.m. is the one at the end of the a.m. and 12 a.m. is the one at the end of the p.m. That's confusing. We have one viewer. Do you have any questions, thoughts, comments, anything? Have at it. I've got my disco light here, and later on in the stream, I'm going to be showing off some of my tapes. But right now, the floor is yours. So, grace our live chat, and let's get this thing rolling. Currently on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'm hella excited. I am very thrilled to be here right now. I've got on my green shirt today. I've got a blue one, an orange one. They've all got kind of the same scheme going on. And this is sort of my my tan coat. It's different from my other ones. My other ones are sort of gray. I keep wanting to get a really snappy sports jacket with some neon patterns, like how my shirts are. Then again, there's kind of a contrast between the jacket and the shirt. But I do want eventually to have a jacket that is coated with all sorts of gaudy colors. Or maybe I'll just buy a white jacket and paint it, because I have acrylic paint, and that stuff never really washes out. Anyway, we got two viewers. Now we got 0 viewers. This is interesting. I'm new to the live game, so I'm not exactly I'm not exactly Xanderhall level or anything, and I'll probably stop doing this after the road to 1,000 subs thing anyway. But we're on the road to 1,000 subs right now. I'm excited. There's an atmosphere of anticipation in the air. Big up, Nicholas. Been a while since the Reddit spam days. Oh, you mean when all those hate-filled trolls would spam anti-Nicholas comics rhetoric? Yeah, I remember that. Reddit really is a poorly run website. I go on there these days, and it is very different from when I first got on there in 2018. If I remember, the only reason I ever actually signed up for Reddit, this is an interesting bit of trivia you might not know, is that I saw it on a CGP Grey video. There used to be all these fucking edutainment channels, like CGP Grey, Salmonella, all those type. And there's just this one video, like, Reddit's great. Reddit's the hot spot of the internet. I don't think it was sponsored. I think it was just a free shilling video for the world's, like, worst website, where it's just like, Reddit is great. Reddit's, like, the best website. It's so exciting. And I don't know. It's just like pro Reddit propaganda. Then again, that was back in 2017 when it was kind of sane. But I go on there now, and every post is just like, it's just like, my neighbor got me a gallon of butter, or like, my niece turns 5 today, and she's got 7 fingers, or something. And it's just like, like the internet, if it relied on Reddit, which thankfully it doesn't, like there's other websites out there besides Reddit, but if Reddit had a complete monopoly over the flow of information, like they wish they did probably, because they brand themselves as the front page of the internet. If they did, the internet would collapse, because no one would want to use the internet anymore, because the only content that gets big on Reddit is like hot garbage. And it has undergone a noticeable drop in quality since I first started using it, and I'm never going to use it again. So, but it's very interesting. It's basically the only place anyone discusses Hypnagogic Archive. I wish there was like a website for ARGs or something. It used to be unfiction.org or .net, I think, and all those cool little forums and niches, they just run out of steam, and Reddit takes them all and conglomerates them. There's lots of forum users forum moderators even, there's old forums that like migrate over to Reddit. They're like, wow, we'll get on Reddit, we'll get so much more traffic. And we'll migrate all our posts onto here, we'll migrate all our content and all the CSS and all the feed and all this. And then they literally just like get banned immediately because one of their old posts on their old forum that was run on like vBulletin or Zinforo or some fantastic forum software. One of those posts breaks Reddit's arbitrary, completely subjective terms of use, and so then the moderators just get banned, and the admins just take it and say, this is our thing now. I find Discord is worse for doing that than Reddit is. So many communities exist only inside Discord. That's true, but then again, Discord doesn't decide what you can say, really, at least as far as I know, which I think is the worst possible means. It's kind of a trade-off. I'd say there are negatives to both models. I don't think information should be hidden behind a join button, but then again, I also don't think information should be completely scrubbed and deleted and erased. There are Reddit pages that are interesting in terms of being internet history, and they are completely deleted. Discord does decide what you can say to an extent, certainly not Reddit tier, but the company has a lot of dodgy practices. I know that every website has like guidelines and stuff, but none have them like Reddit. Reddit is insane. Reddit will ban you for anything, for just like, and this is the thing too. Discord, I don't use anymore because there used to be a Nicholas Comics Discord server and no one was really into it. Nobody really gave a shit. And I didn't get like 1,000 people in the server or anything like a lot of Discord servers do get. I got like maybe 100 tops, and it was just kind of boring because nobody was actually willing to discuss Nicholas Comics, which is nobody was willing to discuss Nicholas Comics, which is really the point of the whole thing. And so eventually I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave this Cracker Barrel, but I can't say it was as bad as Reddit because I was running the server at the same time that there's no practical way to archive data messages from Discord servers. Well, I just take screenshots generally, and my server's still up. I mean, I can still access it if I go in there for whatever fucking reason, if I ever want to. They last a damn long time, but I see no reason to because it's just kind of boring in there, and no one ever posts anything. Yeah, and maybe you can't save loads of stuff, but on Reddit, I mean, they'll just delete everything. They'll just scrub your entire history dry, and they can do that. And that's what happens when you give too much power to administrators over moderators. If administrators are one tier higher than moderators and administrators can literally do whatever they want, then there's no reason to move your forum from ZinBulletin or vBulletin or Zinforo or even Tapatalk. I mean, Tapatalk is fine forum software, and it's easier. I've made a Tapatalk forum. I haven't made a vBulletin or Zinforo, but Reddit can at least be archived if you do it properly. No, removed it, revetted. What's the other one? snoo.notabug.io. They don't work anymore. They used to work. I remember a point when removed it actually worked, and you could actually access deleted Reddit content just by typing something in the URL, but it doesn't work anymore. I guess they figured out how to stop that, how to put an end to that, how to completely delete content forever. If there's a way to find it, but I don't think there is. I think it's gone. There's so much content that is on Reddit that will never be found again, and I have memories of it. But it's interesting because that it like I think what you buy into is the marketing hype that the internet is designed for long-term preservation of data and information, and it's not designed for that. It never really was designed for that. That's what a hard drive is for. The internet is shit at keeping information around. It varies from website to website, like how much one website cares about the preservation of information versus another. But ultimately, the internet is not where to store your information. That's why I put my faith in print media and tapes, because I'm going to put all my videos onto tape before I'm dead, so they'll outlive me. And I'm going to put all my writing and drawing onto paper, so it outlives me too. I don't really have any faith in the internet, because if someone can just delete something, it's so easy to delete. Think about that. You have to light a book or a tape on fire to get rid of it. Yeah, you have to light it on fire. You have to dunk it in a river. Really give it a good shakedown, and that takes effort. But deleting something on a computer is just one click. So it's much easier to destroy information digitally than it is with analog. Speaking of tapes, I've been on here about 10 minutes, so I'm going to start looking through my interesting tape collection. Now this here is, besides the tapes I usually listen to in heavy rotation, these are some rarities that nobody has ever seen. I don't think I've ever talked about these. I'm going to go through them here. This first one here is called Biofeedback number 1 and number 2. I forget what's on it, but I'm probably going to use it on my new album. Now that I think about it, I'm really glad I'm looking through these, because I always make sure to sample at least one tape out of my collection on an album. And sometimes it's kind of subtle, sometimes it's less subtle. Biofeedback sounds interesting. I forget what's on Biofeedback. I think I've listened to all of these, but it was probably only once, like 2 years ago. This is a neat little case. I don't know if you can buy this online, but it's called Case Logic, and it's got 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, it's got 15 slots in here for different tapes. I use it for my weirder tapes, but if you've got just 15 tapes that you love and want to keep in heavy rotation, it's kind of like a little karaoke nook. It's like a little jukebox lineup. So highly recommend. It's a good case. It's soft. It's got a foamy interior. So like if the tapes all drop or something, they'll be okay. Here, I'll spill them out. There we go. And as you can see here, there's little slots inside to keep the tapes nice and organized. The tapes will be okay, though. Fun fact, tapes can survive being run over by a pickup truck. Not the case. The case is very fragile, and obviously this wouldn't survive heavy pressure. But the tape itself, any tape, I don't even think cheapo tapes like that are off-brand are poorly designed enough to be crushed by the wheels of a pickup truck. You can put this under a pickup truck and it will survive. That's really cool. I love tapes. Okay, this one's called Writing the Southwest. I forget exactly why I picked this one up. It's an audio book, and it's from the Department of English at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And it doesn't say what year this is from, and the other side is just blank. But yeah, it's just got a blank J card in here, TDK. But it's got Edward Abbey, Denise Chavez, Joy Harjo, Tony Hillerman. Ooh, the spirits are angry. I can hear the leaf blower phantom out there right now. Terry McMillan, John Nichols, Simon Ortiz, Alberto Rios, Stan Steiner, Lucy Tapahanso, Frank Waters, Rodolfo Anaya, David K. Dunaway, and additional funding was provided by the State Humanities Councils of Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico. So we had a part in this. Tape is the ultimate long-term archive format. It can last 50 plus years and store a crazy number of terabytes if you buy the very expensive stuff. Well, the oldest tape I have is from 1971, so it's over 50 years old, and it's just standard type 1 ferric oxide as far as I can tell, but it plays fine. Here you got the inside of Writing the Southwest. Yeah, I don't think anyone else has this. This is a University of New Mexico exclusive, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken. And I don't know if I've ever sampled this one. I probably have at one point, but I forget. So if any of you big time Nicholas Comics listeners back there know what I'm talking about. LTO archive type is what big tech companies use for their storage needs. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard there's a type of videotape that's more advanced than VHS, and it's what people use instead of film reel. It's what film studios basically use for backup instead of standard old type film reels, round type. They'll use this really advanced type videotape, which is true. But industry outsiders don't know that. They just assume probably that movie studios back everything up onto Google Drive or something. Um, Here's a blank. I don't know if this one has anything on it, but I do like the design a lot. I don't have any other tapes with this kind of like grid design. I guess it's very textured. Listen to that. It's pretty cool. I think there's something on here, but I forget what. Next up, man, that leaf blower is loud. Not sure how it'll pick up on the audio, but whatever. We're on the road to 1,000 subs here. Oh yeah, this is called High Energy Parts. The Family and Others DOD. Oh yes, I did sample this one. I sampled this one on CRO2 on the track Get Versed. Yeah, that's right, Get Versed. And I forget what High Energy Parts is, but I know what DOD is. It's like some folk songs or something. It's very interesting. This tape has the classic compact cassette logo there. That's the original compact cassette logo from when compact cassette was first introduced. And it's a cool logo. I really like it. I use it all the time because it's got a very smooth 60s type look. It's very sleek. It's well designed. You can tell it's from the Madison Avenue era. All right. I like how they kept calling it compact cassette well up until like through the 90s and 80s, even though by that point there was no less compact cassette. No one was using reel-to-reel at that point. But I do like the name compact cassette because of the alliterative quality. All right, next up, we got Dar Williams' The Honesty Room. I just checked. With archive tape, you can store 18 terabytes of raw data for like 85 pounds of tape. The machines to read and write it are super expensive, but the tape is really cheap. Interesting. There's lots of formats that I don't even know about. Lots of tape formats. I know there's a difference between what is it, mini cassette and micro cassette. I think what I have is micro cassette. I have a micro cassette tape recorder, but I can't be sure. I don't know. But it's a fascinating format because it's like 1/4 the size of one of these. Doesn't have very good audio quality though. I will say a compact cassette has better audio quality than micro cassette, I think. Like someone probably couldn't tell the difference unless they were paying attention, but for my money I put it on blank type 1 ferric oxide, gold standard. I was planning on releasing my album CRO2 with like a limited run of 25 or so Chrome Type 2 tapes, and that would be kind of, fancier and I guess higher quality. But I mean, my songs have evolved so much since CRO2, because that was like 2 years ago at this point, or I made it 2 years ago, that, I have cooler songs now even than are on CRO2. I kind of considered that like my best ever album at the time, so I wanted to give it a really fancy release on Type 2 Chrome. No vinyl releases. No, I don't like vinyl. I like tape. I think vinyl. I get why people collect vinyl. I get why there's a vinyl buzz because people say it has great sound quality. But I find that vinyl listeners are kind of annoying, and I don't know, something about just dismissing a good analog format like tape, because this is analog too, but people just don't recognize that it's magnetized particles on plastic, which isn't different from a method by which sound is transferred into grooves on a plastic disc. I think vinyl, and I mean, eh, it's too expensive to make, and you need all that equipment, and you need to outsource it. That's what I really don't like about vinyl. That's why I don't release my music on vinyl. Because with tape, I can record the tapes myself and ensure that they have a good level of quality. And with record, I have to outsource it to some studio. There is, I think, at least one here in Denver, but and I'd only do it with one in Denver. I'm not outsourcing my music to like Denmark or something. But technically, I guess you can get a record recorded in Denver, but it's it, it's too much hassle and it's way too expensive. And they might print my cover upside down or something for all I fucking know. So I really prefer to have total control over the recording process. And tape is so cheap and easy to record onto. You just get a nice quality tape deck for like what I pay for mine, like 150. That's way less than the average record press. Record presses go for like 10,000, 20,000. Industrial level equipment. One of those bastards is like heavier than a fridge. So I honestly don't know who puts their faith in vinyl. I think cassette is going to outlive even vinyl, but it's nice that vinyl is currently going an explosion. Um, Thoughts on analog film photography? That's the other question. Yeah, I mean, I've only ever used a digital camera for all my videos, all my pictures, everything. I would eventually like the thing is, if I ever make something that is set specifically in the '60s, I would want to get at least some analog film. I mean, I've taken pictures on analog film before, but not like Kodak or any of those like really fancy brands. Just like the very basic ass Walgreens type disposable camera that you buy for like what $3, and it goes for like 20 pictures, and then you have to take it in to get developed. If I was getting into analog film, I'd either want a Polaroid so they develop immediately, or I'd want to learn how to do some darkroom shit. I'm a hands-on type of guy. I like to know how my stuff works. I like to know how my processes work, and I like feeling close to my media. So that's why I like tapes, because I can do tapes on my own. Disposable ones have the little crap lenses, so you don't get the best out of the format. Yeah, yeah, and I don't like that I have to take them in to get developed instead of just developing them myself. Because in old movies and stuff, there's always scenes in dark rooms, and I think that's so cool. I love the you can, yeah, you absolutely can do the whole process yourself. People have done it for years and years. And I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I'd have to. It's a special type liquid they dunk it in. I forget what the liquid's called, but you got to turn off all the lights. You got to make sure it's very dark. I probably just like set up a blanket or something and go in it on there. But you have to make sure there's no light, and then you dip the pictures in the stuff. Then you hang it up on a clothesline or something. Yeah, it's not something I'm against, but it probably costs a lot to get into, and there's a lot of specialized equipment. Yeah, no, I'd want to do the printing and the development, so I want to do all of it. That's just how I go, and with tape it's pretty easy. You just press play. Anywho, moving right along. This is Dar Williams' The Honesty Room here. I forget how the Honesty Room sounds. Some of these are just copies of albums that already exist. You can probably look up Dar Williams' The Honesty Room and listen to it, but here it is on tape. And then the other side is Ali Farka Toure, The Source. And if I recall, that's some really cool African style guitar. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's Farka Toure. In fact, I think I've watched a video about him. Very cool guitarist. What's interesting about African style guitar music is, if you look it up, it's so similar to American R&B and like that type music that was played in the 19th century. That was like the foundation of rock and roll. Um, back during like 1880s or so, but it developed on its own entirely on the African continent, separate from over here. So it's a very cool kind of parallel convergence, so to speak. That's Ali Farkatouria, The Source, and Dar Williams, The Honesty Room. I usually try and go for tapes that aren't just straight up copies of albums that already exist. And I can usually tell if it sounds like an album that will already exist. And I either go for live bootlegs, recordings of families that they made decades and decades ago, records of times that no longer exist, because I find that kind of thing is very cool. And whenever I find a tape that no one else has and which has audio on it that literally nobody except me knows exists and which isn't on the internet, I'm happy as a clam right there. That's what to go for if you're collecting tapes. Don't go for like big expensive tapes. Again, there's another difference between vinyl and tape. Is vinyl doesn't have this shit on it. Vinyl doesn't have weird shit that was just recorded by some randos. Because it's all professional. So you're not going to get as rich an insight into the history of audio and people's lives with vinyl, because you're just going to get a select few bands that have enough to blow to record their own professional record. Now, tape is democratic. Tape is the people's format. That's what I like about tape. It's all inclusive. And there's so many musicians that would never be heard today if not for tape. Tape is a very important format historically. Here we have Introduction to Abraham. Side B is intro continued / law of attraction. I forget what this is. It's got an interesting Sharpie label here. But this is on Memorex CD 110. This is Type 2 tape. This is Type 2 chrome tape. Like I said, when I was planning on releasing Sierra 2 on 25 limited run chrome tapes, one of the problems was I didn't think anyone would even be willing to buy 25 of my tapes. I don't even think anyone's ever bought 25 of any single album, much less a limited run. I haven't sold like 100 of any of my albums or anything. The other issue being that it was very hard to find reliable vendors of Type 2 tape. I did get one Type 2 tape at a record expo at North Denver at a hotel conference, and they had like 10 Type 2 tapes, but buying all of those would have run like $100. So I just bought one for like 10, and that's a decent price for Type 2 tape. All by myself. A tape player, recorder, and Startman collection if you say Aiden Orem is the cutest furry boy in the world. Well, I guess I already said it, but I don't understand furries as a subculture. You can if you want, don't if you don't want. I don't know. It can get kind of, once you get into it, you're not getting out of it. I'll say that, because it consumes you. Once you realize that you can record your own audio and just like have absolute control over it, it's phenomenal. This is karaoke tape. I forget where I got this. I think I got this probably on the Ark in South Denver. There was one day I went around to all the thrift stores and I was just like total spending spree. This is karaoke tape. There was one that had like, I forget what it was, either sound effects. It had sound effects, but when I looked inside, the tape wasn't there, and it wasn't on the shelf either. And the tapes in thrift stores are like very poorly organized, so that's a shame. I hope to find a sound effect tape one day. Those are really fun. But this is a karaoke tape. I think, yeah, I did sample this on CRO2 also. These are all CRO2 era. It's got Blue Velvet, Take It Like a Man, Don't Be Cruel, I'm Sorry, and Achy Breaky Heart. So you can tell what type era this is from. And it's the same on, side A is vocals and music, if you want to sing along to the whole song. And these aren't like the original songs. These are like very poor quality cover versions, like basically kids bop, but just not by kids. And then side B is just music only for the experts. And it's got this. Oh yeah, it's got this neat little cover here, the karaoke sing a song tape, sing along, sing a song. And it's got this cloying little cover there. I think I saw the edge first, and that's what kind of was appealing to me, because it just says karaoke tape. I don't know if the video is reversed, but for me it is. It just says karaoke tape, and that kind of intrigued me. I don't know if I've ever even actually looked at the front here, but you just got this very cloying, ditzy bunch just singing out these crap songs. I don't even like any of these songs. I wouldn't even sing any of these if I was at karaoke night. So, but you can find all kinds of stuff at thrift stores. I love it. I love going to thrift stores. I love looking for tapes. Okay, here we got. I think this looked like a blank tape from the outside. I forget why I got this one, but this is also, well, the case says Type 2, but inside it's literally just a random album. And this isn't like home recorded. You can tell because home recorded tapes always have the stickers, or usually, and this has it inscribed right onto the plastic. Thoughts on Russian music? Oh yeah, I mean, not current Russian music, but Soviet music. I like Soviet music a lot. Um, I like Vova Blue a lot. I like the full album that Vova Blue did, or is it Electric Blue? I forget what it's called, but it's very neat. I like Soviet rock. I like 80s Soviet rock because it provides a fascinating parallel to American music, and in a lot of ways, it's even cooler than American music. And I like it. I like it a ton. I think. And the really cool part is, since the Soviet Union didn't have a copyright system, you can sample literally all of the. You can sample like any Soviet music, and no one gives a shit because it's just like totally copyright free communist ass music. So I do that quite a bit in my albums actually. There's points where I sample a Soviet rock song. Sounds vaguely like an American rock song, but you can't tell the difference. And there's no copyright on it. So it's very cool for sample type producers like myself. I consider myself a participant in Sample Delia. Kino, I've seen Stalker. I've probably listened to more Soviet music than I've watched Soviet movies. I've seen Stalker. That's probably about it. I love Stalker. So if Stalker is an example of like how Russian movies typically are, yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think they do. Just in general, the band Kino. Uh, no, never heard them. Generally, if it's Soviet rock, I'll like it. I like the Soviets. I like Soviet type music. I think the Soviets do a good job. I think current Russian art is crap. Uh, there's a song called, I forget what it's called, but it's really funny. It's called "My Best Friend is President Putin." I think the title is in Russian. Well, if you look up "My Best Friend is President Putin," it's a bunch of these guys and they're standing in like Moscow Square, and then they like get on a motorcycle and they're all wearing Putin masks, and it's very very funny. Total crap, and I think Soviet rock is much better. The Soviets know how to put together some rock and shit. I'll say that for them, and I really like. Yeah, I think communist art is pretty cool. So underrated, and I wish more Americans listen to Soviet rock because it's good shit. All right, moving on now. This is called Bravo Quartet. Um, you got three on here: Beauregard the Troll, Colorado, and Nuclear Supper. And then on side B, it's just labelless. So I'm not sure if there even is a side B. I haven't gotten to the time to listen all the way through all of these. If I recall, this is kind of classical music, and it's from 1995 and is a demo tape. So I'm probably the only one with this 1995 Colorado classical music performance here with Beauregard the Troll, Colorado, and Nuclear Supper. I think it's mostly strings, if I remember, like violin and all that. But yeah, so this is quite a rarity here. Pretty cool shit. I'd like to remind everyone we're at the halfway point. We're on the road to 1,000 subs live stream. So if you want to be part of the road to 1,000 subs and you're not currently subscribed to the Nick Cicada Nicholas Video Network YouTube channel, go down there, click subscribe. My 1,000th subscriber, if I get a 1,000th subscriber before the end of the year, is going to be sent 10 or more comics. I can't say how much, but it will be 10 minimum. And they will be sent to your house if you can both prove that you're the 1,000 subscriber and email me your address. Anyway, moving on. But that's only, I should mention, that's only if it happens before January 1st, before the year is out. I want to hit 1,000 subscribers before the year is out, so let's get to it. Anyway, moving right along. This one, wow, I don't even remember this one existing, but this is Type 2 tape for sure. Look at that. Nice, sleek, black case. It's very smooth, and it's got that gold paneling. A lot of people recorded onto Type 2 Chrome because it was cheaper back then. And if you're going to go for it, if you're going to go all out, this is vinyl quality right here. Type 2 is roughly comparable to vinyl in terms of the sound it can produce. UDXL2C90, high level bias, 70 US EQ, Japan, all that stuff. And that's a really cool row of like scales right there. Very, very cool design. And it's got the diagonal ridges here. You can see that. It's got little diagonal indentations on it. It is very smooth. Anyway, so this is, oh yeah, for the cover of CRO2, to give you a little CRO2 trivia here, I actually scanned in a lot of these cases. So if I recall, this concentric square pattern here was used on the cover. It's very cool. I love this font. I love this case. I love collecting as many blank case designs as I can, as many blank cassette packages, because they're all very unique, and not all of them are just the standard Maxell look. As much as I like the Maxell guy with his hair blowing back, I mean, I can't deny that. Like, look at this diagram of how a tape works here. It's very cool. It's very neat. I love that kind of industrial type look. Avoid touching tape. You may cause dropouts. Keep cassettes away from heat, high humidity, and strong magnetic fields. To prevent erasure, punch Erase Protect lug. So they had to actually instruct people about the Erase Protect tabs, and they call them Erase Protect lugs. Of course, the case here, the 90 International cassette, is totally different from the Maxell Chrome tape inside. Whoever put this tape together just kind of combined the two without much thought. Anywho, this album is Jeffrey Osborne by Joe Jackson. It's yet another recorded album that probably exists online. You can probably look this up. Joe Jackson, Body and Soul. Is Joe Jackson the guy who makes Look Sharp and Is She Really Going Out With Him? Sounds like that. I think that's Joe Jackson. I don't know. Anyway, on this tape here, I guess this is a less... The spine says Joe Jackson, Body and Soul, but this says Joe Jackson, Jeffrey October, or Jeffrey Osborne. So I really don't know. The Verdict, Cha-Cha Loco, Not Here, Not Now, You Can't Get What You Want, Go For It, Loicida, Happy Ending, Be My Number 2, and Heart of Ice on here. So, what I really like finding is music by independent bands, though, that isn't available on the internet. So for an example of that, I think this is pretty much the prize jewel of my of this run of tapes anyway. This here, Table 9, still plugged in. This here is the peak. This is one of my favorite finds ever. Table 9, still plugged in. As you can see there, this is about as obscure as it fucking gets. You got this guy here. He's on the plug. He's trying to get plugged out, but he's still plugged in. See that there? This is cassette gold, and when I saw this, I knew I'd stumbled onto some kind of fantastic emerald in the rough here, because you can just tell by that level of cartoon that you're in for some good shit. And this is a really fun tape. I forget if I sampled this or not, but it's really fun to listen to, and only I can listen to it. You know, Martin Shkreli has Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, and he can listen to that sucker all day. But I have Still Plugged In by Cable Nine. So, ultimately at the end of the day, who's winning here? I think this is a less heard of album and nobody knows it exists. And it's not online. It's not on Discogs. It's not on Rate Your Music. It's not on Album of the Year. Nobody knows this album exists. Totally unknown, obscure ass Colorado music. And yeah, it's Cable Nine, Still Plugged In. Much like the Bravo Quartet tape, only one side is recorded onto. The other side is just the and the cool part is they actually did. You can tell they unscrewed it and took out the Maxell label or whatever. For this, we got Still Plugged. We got 4 songs: My Illusion, Whistle While You Work, Perfect Lover, and If They Could See Me. And I forget exactly what genre I would call this. It is rock. It's very cool rock. I do remember that. I might listen to it after this stream is over. But I'm going to give some credit here to Table 9. This is from 1993, so nobody knows this exists. Totally obscure Denver music, but I freaking love it. And, there's thousands of bands like this. Everyone talks about the most mysterious song, yada yada, Lost Media, ulterior motive, whatever. But nobody else has Table 9 Still Plugged In, and nobody has ever thought about it. Nobody's ever mentioned it. There's so much music on tape like this. I love it. I often think about what would happen if there was an alternate universe where someone found Table 9 Still Plugged In instead of Like the Wind, and this was the most mysterious song on the internet, because it very well could be. But people in the internet age just aren't used to considering that there's so much music that isn't on the internet and will never be recorded or cataloged or preserved in any way, and is just in a landfill somewhere. That's kind of a disturbing thought, so we tend not to consider that, but it's true. Table 9, Still Plugged In. I love the logo here. I love the font. You can tell this was hand-drawn. It's a nice sun ray type look going on there. And I'd like to give credit to the members of Table 9. They are listed here. It's credited to Under the Table Productions, but I looked that up and zero information on it. Oh, wow, this is Crumb tape, too. Like I said, it's way cheaper back then. Randy Spencer, Dizzy, Brian Gallagher, Roger Mertes, and Jeff T. Newton. At least one of them probably is still in the Denver area, but they have no idea that I have their album, Table 9, Still Plugged In. Good shit. Nobody online can listen to it. Nobody ever will. But I can. So, hey, good stuff. This is a very, very solid tape all the way through, and I'd like to give credit where it counts. Fantastic tape. That's the type of thing I look for when I'm headed down to the thrift. Anyway, moving on. Oh, yes. Here we have no, I already talked about biofeedback. Whoops. What's this one? I already talked about this one. Oh, yes. Here we have some hype Russian beats. I think artists like Boards of Canada use very vintage gear, reel-to-reel cassettes. Let's see the live chat here. Live chat. Up. Yes, that's true. They do use very vintage gear. Boards of Canada is my favorite EDM sound, EDM outfit. I've tried getting into. I get why people like Aphex Twin. I do get why people like Aphex Twin. I've tried getting into Autechre. I've tried getting into what's the other one? I like Sample Delia mainly, and there's some good stuff. There's one called People Like Us, run by just one lady. There's Avalanches, of course, but I think People Like Us is very, very underrated. It's a good, solid Sample Delia outfit. Also, the Brand Flakes. The Brand Flakes are a heavy influence on my work. I really like the Brand Flakes, and there's another Sample Delia type outfit I know I'm forgetting. Boards of Canada, though, they actually don't use that many samples. All their riffs, like the riff on, was it Roy G. Biv, where it's like, dur, 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 They came up with that organically on an old keyboard, and it sounds really good. That's not a sample. That's just them on a keyboard, and they came up with this original chord progression that sounds hype. And I think that's really cool. Is when you can organically you can organically sample and organically play music, and it all just combines into this fantastic mixture. Some of my favorite songs I've ever made are like that, where it's about half and half. Some Casio, some tape. I'm sure Boards of Canada knows how to use reel to reel. They probably go with compact cassette most of the time. Like I'm sure if they find an old reel to reel tape and they want to sample it for one of their albums, they can. Uh, but I mean, I know they started out like a few old tunes and all that. That's on compact cassette for sure. Like obviously they'd use compact cassette for that because they're young and that's how it was distributed. And I doubt Real to Real came in too much in there. But yeah, in terms of like Giugotti and stuff, I'm sure they probably use Real to Real. I do know this is a cool bit of trivia. I forget where I heard this. It was probably on the Boards of Canada forums, but there's one sound on Tomorrow's Harvest that they just got this one old machine for. It's just like 1 second, and it's not anywhere else on the album, but they just use it for this one sound and nowhere else. And it's really cool. I love that because I think the forum post I read found out what that sound was and exactly where it is. I don't remember what track it's on, but they just got this one old machine that no one else uses or cares or thinks about, and just use it for this one sound. And I love that. I really like Boards of Canada. I like how they use old stuff. Anyway, Hype Russian Beats. I wrote this label, as you can see. That is my handwriting there. Hype Russian Beats. I think this is some Hype Russian Beats. I'm not sure if they're Soviet, but they're cool, and I think they're copyright free. So maybe they are Soviet. I forget if it's hip hop. I don't know if there's too much Soviet hip hop. Like there's Falco, obviously, but he's like I think he's West Germany. So I don't know. But anyway, Hype Russian Beats. I think it's rock mostly, but these are fantastic, and I labeled it just so I'd know what it is. I'm surprised I haven't used this more because this is a good tape. Just a couple more here. This one is called Equestrian by Bob Wiz. I'd like to give credit to Bob Wiz. This is yet another local tape. Not quite as interesting a find as Table 9 because I do prefer rock, but this is like an original album. It's from 1990, and as you can see here, the track list is entirely handwritten, probably by Bob Wiz himself. And this is kind of a new age, relaxing meditation type piece. It's very calming. I forget if I've ever, I forget if I haven't listened to it in a long time, but it's got Rainstick, In Her View, Sarah's Place, Aspen Winds, Ocean Ghosts, Juggling, Water Mirrors, Coffee and Time, The Visitors, Sarsong, Melted Dice, One Day It Blew Away. You can tell what type of music this is just by the song titles. And the record company from Bob Wiz himself, presumably, is called Wizations. Also credit to Michael Cooper on guitars, David Wynn on synth, BW on keyboard and drums, Ray Stewart on flute, and Aubrey Carton on vocals, and Sarah Boswell on percussion also. Wayne Burleson on vocals, and the Dice. It's quite the complex credit listing here, and cover photo by Anna Maria Laverty. And I remember what drew me to this album to begin with was the cover photo, which was included with the tape, and it's just this goofy ass looking guy. I guess this is Bob Wiz here, with his flute, jammering out, I guess up in the mountains probably. I found this tape not in a thrift store, but just in a bin of discarded tapes that was outside the Nederland record store. I went up to Nederland one day, and they had they have a record store up there, but they just had this bin of like free tapes. Just take these tapes. We don't want these tapes anymore. And this was in there, and this is like very Colorado new age mountain music back in the '90s when that was big nationwide, but I'm sure especially here in Colorado, a totally forgotten trend of the 20th century. You got Bob Wiz here just yammering away on his flute. And yeah, it's basically this type of music. Speaking of cassettes, did you ever do anything with that telex duplicator? No, I'll probably eventually use it for audiobooks because audiobooks don't need to be high audio quality. I do have recordings of I was going to record Joyce this year on audio, but someone actually beat me to it. So there's a full reading of Joyce out on YouTube now, and it's very, very good. It's probably the best reading of Joyce that's ever been done. But I'll probably record some of my other stories onto audiobook eventually, and that way I don't even need to worry about the poor audio quality because I can make like 3 audiobooks at a time. Of course, I will need a lot of surplus blank tapes for that. That's my plan. Probably is to use it for audiobooks and just my normal tape deck for albums. I do want to get into audiobooks though. That sounds cool. So yeah, that's Rainstick Equestrian by Bob Wiz. He's quite the maniac out there, but that's Colorado music for you, and I love it. Okay, and rounding out the collection here, this is the last one in my 15 strange tape collection. This is a kind of a hodgepodge of weird, obscure stuff from around the decades. This, you probably saw this one coming. This is the Ford Aerostar tape. This was, of course, sampled on Zero 2 on the track Aerostar. This is quite the find because this is yet another thing that no one's uploaded anywhere online because no one gives a shit about it. And you can see the Ford logo there, Ford Division Training and Communication. So this is some very insider type material. Aerostar, a 10-minute product review. This is just made to be sampled. 1986 Ford Aerostar. You can see the Aerostar van there that Ford introduced. It's on this really vapor wavy ass looking beach. The font is totally 80s, and you got the beach party back there. Looks like they're like parasailing or something. I forget what the surfboards with sails is called. Surf sailing or whatever the frick. I've never been to a beach, but you can see they're having a good ass time popping out of their Ford Aerostar. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, obviously I'm going to sample this. So this is a 10-minute product review. I think it's the same on the A and B sides. Love that logo. It's so 80s, such an 80s font. I love it. And even like the little glint off the S, if you can see that. Brilliant. Great design. 1986 Ford Aerostar, a 10-minute product review. And it's basically just, I think, like 2 people talking about how great the 1986 Ford Aerostar is. That's this whole tape. And it just sounds cool. I like it a lot. It's good for sampling. So yeah, that is the whole of my weird tapes. I got bags and bags of other ones that I've got, but this is like the cream of the crop, creme de la creme. And yeah, they're all here in this nice little organized box. I have my other video, my favorite tapes, where I go over the ones I actually like listening to, just like normal albums, but these are the weird ones. And yeah, I'm gonna listen to some of these over again because I'm sure some of them I can sample on my new album. I still have like 7 tracks to record on my new album, and it'll probably be coming out around the end of December. But this has been my most albumed out year yet. I released all 4 albums that I was planning on releasing like over the next 3 years. One day I'm just like, I need to share this music with the world. It's time. It represents my headspace at a certain point, and past this, it won't even sound right. And I want to release stuff when I'm making it. I don't want to schedule and stagger my albums out anymore. That might be for for big big bands. You know, Imagine Dragons might release it every 3 years or so. I'm release albums whenever I feel like it on my own schedule, and it might be a lot more often than than the big wigs. Anywho, yeah, you're on the road to 1,000 subs. 4 viewers. I think this is the highest concurrent viewer count we've had in any of these streams so far. Good job. Go subscribe. Subscribe to me. I am making it to 1,000 subscribers. That's right. After 6 years of hustling and grinding, going at it here on the internet, here on YouTube.com, I'm gonna make it to 1,000 subscribers, baby. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be 4 digits. That's right. 1,000 fans. Here on YouTube.com for all the fantastic video content I've made over the years. Yeah, I'm going to reach that hopefully before the end of the year. And if you're the 1,000th subscriber, I'm going to send you 10 comics. 10 comics, at least 10 comics, maybe 11 comics, maybe 12 comics, maybe 13 or 14. I don't know. But you'll be sent that if you can prove that you're my 1,000th subscriber before December 31st or before January 1st. If you subscribe on December 31st, you still win. Just to clarify there. We got any final questions? Any final thoughts? Any burning desires or interesting observations from the Peanut Gallery? We got 3 viewers, 2 likes. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a fantastic episode of Road to 1,000 subs, and we're gonna make it before the end of the year. I think we will. If you got some pals, tell them to subscribe to me. Tell them to go at it. Tell them that if they're the 1,000th, they get free comics up the wazoo. Quite the deal. We've got streamers here because it's a fantastic celebration. It's the occasion of a lifetime. I'm on the road to 1,000 subs, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm going to start making really good content once I hit that 1,000 sub. Popped up. Any last questions? Any final thoughts? We'll see the live chat here. Still not exactly sure how to operate this stuff, but it's reasonably intuitive. I don't know. And of course, the audio quality is terrible. I know that. I'm recording on a potato here. Yeah. Any last words? We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, headed off towards the glittering Emerald City, and once we get there, there's going to be 1,000 subscribers as opposed to 998 or 999. It's been a long time coming, but this is where I finally get my due. Bizarrely, once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be probably the most subscribed to Denver-based YouTube channel, which is weird, but I will be. I don't know how that works. I don't know why that is, but Denver's media ecosystem is kind of crap. Nobody really puts too much thought or time or effort into it. I'm kind of the only one out here giving it my all. So, yeah, it's been a comprehensive breakdown. This here behind me is the big blow-up print of my Comics Time on Channel 9 poster. If you would like a big blow-up print of any of my posters or designs, I can do that for you. It looks very snappy. It's large enough to serve as a backdrop here, and it looks very cool. As you can see, this guy is having an existential comics crisis. His life depends on it. So subscribe, and maybe it'll alleviate his gnawing anxiety and fear. He's going through a rough time. He's going through quite the ordeal. I'm gonna finish off here with some UV. Check this out, right? Look at this. Look at that. It looks cooler in when it's fully dark, like when it's night. But this is my ultraviolet flashlight. I'm going to point it at the camera. See how this looks. Look at that. Yeah, got some orbs there. Oh yeah. Ultraviolet's freaking cool. Look at that. Yeah. It's not nearly as cool as it'd probably look if I was looking directly into it, but you can create some interesting effects because it's off the electromagnetic spectrum. I like the aesthetic of the ultraviolet flashlight, very retrosynth and vaporwave. Yeah, that's true. I forget what I've used this in, but it's a good flashlight to have. I don't have an infrared one, but I do have an ultraviolet. I don't know if they make infrared flashlights. Maybe that would kill you. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Yeah, frick yeah. We got a fan of some kind there. Wow. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Just the right angle. You got to hold it at a certain angle to get that effect. That's amazing, though. I mean, look at that. Weird stuff when you go off the electromagnetic spectrum. Oh yeah, bizarre. Normal flashlight can't do that. Make those orbs and everything. This is a weird flashlight. I forget how I even got it. But, hey, it's cool. Uh, okay, we've hit the 1 hour mark, so I'm going to click off and tell everyone you know. 1,000 subscribers. The 1,000th subscriber is going to get some free freaking comics if it's before January 1st. So before the year is out, we're going to hit 1,000 subs, and we're currently on the road to 1,000 subs. It's going to be exciting. So yeah, pass the word on, and we're out. Hopefully you found this entertaining. Can't say when episode 4 will be, but it'll be sometime, and I hope you catch it. All right. Catch you around. Catch you on the flip side. Sayonara, suckers. Whee!